TPE Network. Fun yet informative podcasts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mouse House Plus, episode 43, covering Hawkeye, episodes 1 and 2. I'm Hank.
And I'm John.
And we're going to have a lot of fun doing this one because John has not read this comic, and either have I. So we are going into it with a fresh pair of eyes and set of ears and eyes. So this should be a lot of fun. We're going to be doing episode 1 and 2. So let's get right into episode 1, Never Meet Your Heroes. So we are thrust into 2012, and a little Kate is overhearing her. Well, she's eavesdropping. She's hearing her parents argue, which was sad. Then her dad has a little conversation with her, and she's going to go have lunch with mom, which I like how they laid this out. Because it gives you a sense of why things are the way they are in present day. But when mom goes to get checkers, the freaking invasion starts, the Chitauri Invasion. And she sees Hawkeye across the way because he fires an arrow that literally saves her. Why the Chitauri were focused in once they saw her, I don't know, but whatever. Her dad is killed in the chaos. I thought this was a really good scene. Maybe not so much effects wise. There was some jitteriness, especially with the Hawkeye character kicking. I was like, it's clearly animation. But I really felt like they gave me everything I needed for the background story.
Yeah,
what say you?
I agree. Actually, there's a couple Easter eggs that were dropped in this one, like little ones, because I think the response to them like running out of money, she was like, "What are you expecting? Like a solution to fall out of the sky?" And Chitauri Invasion, and apparently now look at them afterwards; they seem to be doing really good. So it kind of did come true. But yeah, no, I mean, this is a great way of being able to connect this series to what we all started with the Avengers. And it's nice. It's nice to go back. I mean, I was actually even happy when that stuff was happening in the Netflix series. Like when we were like, okay, well, here's this one character. Now we're seeing them right at the beginning of the first Avengers movie, and it kind of spins off from there. And that helps keep it grounded. And I mean, considering that most of these heroes we're about to get are from New York, and the first battle happened in New York, then this is something that you can't ignore. Everyone was involved in or had something to do with it in some way.
Yes. And I love when they do the show and not just tell. So she's Snoopy. We got to see it. Her relationship with her mom, there's something a little iffy there. We got to see it. Mm-hmm. I love that. Don't just fill me in later and me go, I don't know if I believe that or not. I liked how they put all that to bed instantly.
Yes.
Now, at the funeral, she proclaims, I need a bow and an arrow. I was like, that is so cute because when you're little, you would be fixated on certain. I had heroes when I was little, and that did shape a lot of my life. Muhammad Ali was one of my heroes, and guess what? I became a professional boxer. So it does kind of fit that way. So I was glad they did it. Present day, a purple-clad Kate scales a building. Then she shoots the bell. But nothing, nada, just a dong. But the second time's a charm, except for it works a little too well, and the entire tower, most of the top of the tower collapses, and she gets caught by a security guard. I was like, why is the random security guard way up there where she's at and not down there where her friends are at?
Now, I thought it was funny too because it went from I'm just going to shoot an arrow to hey, look at this, I have a trick arrow, and. But okay, so I looked this up. This isn't something that I saw on my own, but apparently this is an Iron Man 1 call out because this tower that she climbs to shoot at the clock tower was dedicated by Stain Tower. So that would be our shoot, I'm thinking Sebastian
Obadiah.
Obadiah, thank you. I couldn't get that other name out of my head, but that's our Iron Man call out.
Nice. Very good. Now this, oh my gosh, the Rogers the musical.
Hold on.
Let's go.
I need poop at the same time as the applause.
You thought it was all poop. It
Well,
was great though, because it was so over the top. Have you ever been to a musical? They're
Yeah.
always so over the top. You just go in knowing that these guys wish they were doing something different, but they're not. So they're going to just pour it on because they want that adoration. They want the fans to love them. So everything's at 11 when they do it.
Well, I mean, I thought it was awfully strange because who was that one guy that had the 4 dots on him? He was like a focal point in it. You're like, who's this person? That's not an Avenger. And then, of course, the other thing too is like, they totally cut down on all the Hawkeye parts. I mean, that's apparent. I mean, they're just making it so he's like not even a second row like hero. He's like, some background character. And then we get to see him actually have PTSD when we see Black Widow's character doing her solo.
And they had Ant-Man there, and he was like, Ant-Man wasn't even there.
Oh, that's
I
who it was.
love that.
That's who it was. That was Ant-Man. Okay, yeah.
I love that he put that in there because he was like, that guy wasn't even there. Oh, very good, very good. So when that little redhead waves at him, was that part of it too? The little girl in the audience, she was a redhead.
Yes.
And do you think that just kind of compounded everything on him?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. As he kind of freaks out and he walks out there, and when he sees that writing that Thanos was right. Oh, I was like, ooh, okay. Well, all right. And a guy wants a selfie in the old bathroom. That's always awkward, dude. I'm telling you, man. Just if you meet somebody, do not do that, please.
I mean, Hank, you make this sound like you've had this happen to you a couple times.
I've had this happen to me a couple times back in the pro athlete days. And I'm just like, you could probably pick a better time to, try to carry on a conversation. And it's just kind of awkward, man.
I want to know if it's someone from the podcast world. They just found you in there. And you'd be like, I've seen you on YouTube. I need your autograph, man.
When Radio Shack still existed, I had a guy come up to me and he was like, you're that podcast guy. And then he started thinking I knew all these other famous podcasters. I was like, we don't all just know each other. I don't know those people, dude. And he just wouldn't let it go. It was awkward and stuff, but he sold me my darn cable, so I was happy. That was back in the old days. Clint heads outside and his daughter comes to talk to him, and then they take off. I really liked his family.
Yeah.
Can I just put that out there? That those kids were great for me. I was like,
I think their oldest boy doesn't necessarily look like he fits in as a legit family member, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it was clearly, they grabbed some good actors to do this, but I mean, hey, play these kids just acting like normal family members. So yes. I mean, and I wonder how much more we're gonna see of them if this is it.
Right. It'll be like, yeah, they exist, but you don't get to see them.
Exactly.
Which is cool. Kate's also in New York and goes to see her mom. Her mom gets after her over the bell tower, and her mom has a new beau. His name is Jack, if I'm not mistaken. And I instantly didn't like Jack because I'm not supposed to.
No, you're not. And I'll be honest, until I did my researching, I mean, yes, I realized that he was more than likely going to be the antagonist for this, but didn't actually realize he was a Marvel character. And I'm like, oh, he's the swordsman. Oh, okay. So that's not just like a clever thing they're trying to do with him. So see, there you go. If you need any more proof that I have no idea what I'm watching for a change, I'm like looking at this and I'm like, oh, afterwards. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I see that now.
I get it now. That's
well,
great.
I mean, we haven't gotten to it yet, and we will. But when they're doing their little sword fighting, and then he does the parry to knock her sword out, it's spinning top up, and I was like, Okay.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
It's almost too on the nose, though, when they do these things. The proximity, I'm saying. It's like Star Wars. Star Wars is this vast, all these systems. You got to jump, in order to get to certain spots and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like 30 characters that always run into each other all over the galaxy. And now Marvel is kind of getting like that. Like the bad guy is always in close proximity to the good person.
Well, my issue is everything happens in New York. That's why I like Shang-Chi, and then when we were dealing with Madripoor with Hawkeye, or not Hawkeye, Captain
Falcon.
America and the Winter Soldier, or Falcon and Winter Soldier, whatever you want to call him. But when we were in different places, that was great because it just shows there's other stuff going on. But I mean,
New York is it,
unfortunately, in the Marvel universe, New York is a central location to a lot of good guys and bad guys at the same time.
Yeah.
So
makes you wonder why you don't see each other.
Yeah, or why but this is answering a couple questions you have, like they can just toss people in willy-nilly right now because they should be walking around the background.
Now the Barton family is having dinner, and dinner is free. Was it believable that him and his family would be out by themselves? That magnitude of an individual, you know what I'm saying? Doesn't it seem like I get that they kind of downplayed him as an individual, but a lot of people did recognize him and stuff, which would make you wonder, like, wouldn't the government be keeping tabs, or wouldn't you be like assigned some handlers or something, especially his former SHIELD kind of dealings?
I mean, I if it was SHIELD, they wouldn't be there with him all the time. They'd be hanging around the background somewhere, waiting in a car 2 cars down behind, So, I mean, honestly, that might be the case. That might be what we're going to see here, in a little bit. Having like a normal handler. No, I mean, with the kids, I mean, I can see him basically being like, let the kids go and make arrangements, and then he just kind of comes in and sits down, and then he doesn't have to worry about the one who's dealing with a lot of the stuff. And that's how it kind of made it sound whenever he was sending his kids off, because they all they knew exactly what to do and who was supposed to be watching who. And but I can totally see it. I mean, we've never seen any of them with a handler at all. And we're thinking more like in our world where that would make more sense. Yeah. But in the MCU, even though it's supposed to mirror as close it is to us as possible, I mean, we had Happy Hogan, and how often was he actually with Stark? I mean, it was the only way if we can ever keep up with him.
True.
And then look at like Rogers. I feel that they would have put someone on Rogers like all the time, and there he was like doing laps around DC, when we first see him in the Winter Soldier. So, but at the same time, it's SHIELD. They're monitoring him. We know they're monitoring him. They just don't know where he's at. I mean, sorry, they just don't have someone visually
on
seeing
camera
him all the time. But but we got a whole bunch of different characters and superheroes that they are clearly recognized, but yet they're not being guarded. Because in that case, why aren't we putting guards outside of the Doctor Strange's house? But he wouldn't want them. He could take care of his own stuff.
Right. I kind of made that statement just because Clint is not super powered per se.
Well, no, I'm more or less agreeing with you, because it makes sense to have that handler out there. It's just that I think that in our world that makes sense. In this world, apparently they don't need handlers.
Armand Duquesne tells Kate that her mom is getting married. Armand the 7th comes up and says he's bored, a little kid. Oh my gosh, I love that. I've got tons of nephews and nieces, great nephews, great nieces, and great nephews. And yeah, that kid was spot on. I'm bored. I want to go. I was like, yeah, that sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that they use the same name over and over again. You gotta love families that do that. So Kate is mad at mom, so she heads outside and sees a dog. Did you have any inkling of who this dog was going to be?
No.
At this early spot?
I mean, until I looked it up, sorry, until it was in the notes that I found that had like, things that were going on in this episode, I did not know who this is. So I won't say anything. I'll let you say it.
Okay. When I saw him, I recognized him, and I was thinking to myself, are they going here already? Because I thought we were going to get a different pairing for this. I thought maybe he would rescue Clint from something, but he's kind of a MacGuffin, as it were, for this. And I think there's going to be something coming up later that's really going to stand out, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. She then overhears, because she's a snoop, her mom talking to Armand, I believe the third, the old one. And then her mom plays dumb. So Kate follows Armand downstairs into a wine cellar, and there's an underground auction going on. And I was like, what the heck is this? I love how she got in there because it was believable. It was passable. And then when she's like talking about Gary, and then Gary comes down, he's like, I'm Gary.
Yeah,
I was like, yes.
Yeah, that's the one ploy that never works. When you spit out the guy's name and you're talking to that guy, you're like, oh no, you've been like, no, the other Gary, guys, come on,
Gary.
not you, Gary, the other Gary.
I would have thrown out something better. She could have said like she's Armand's personal, waiter or staff or something. He'd have been like, oh, okay, let me get out of here. Do you want to go ask him? Gary would have been like, no. How about no? I don't want to go ask him. Let it ride. But that was fun. I like this whole. I like the entire episode, but we'll keep going. Now we have the Ronin blade, and then there's Russians in that office over there. How did they? Can you help me here? How did they not get spotted by the people at the auction? They're right in an adjacent room.
I have no idea. I mean, at this point in time when we're going through everything, I'm like, I was more fascinated over the fact that the sword can retract. I didn't even. Yes. I watched that part, and honestly, the rest of what was going on, I have no clue. I was like, it retracts, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, where does it go?
Okay, because I was just a little perplexed because it's almost like they were supposed to do what they did. And there's some, maybe it's Jack that is pulling their strings. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But it just seemed odd that they were right there and then this goes down instead of them coming from an external, they end up coming from an external wall, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. Now in the Ronin suit, Kate saves Armand and company, which was cool. Even though it's really predictable that she's going to put that suit on. I mean, that's some Peter Parker-ish type, ordeal where I got to dress up so I can save the day and stuff, which was cool. When a guy finds some mysterious watch, that's when Pizza Dog shows up from earlier and bites him. Now, did you observe on your second viewing, did Pizza Dog maintain the watch? Did he pick it up? Did he do anything? Or is it just laying there?
No, I think it just lays there because we hear the guy later on saying, oh, here it is.
Okay, good. Good catch. Good. And then the dog goes and plays in traffic, which was not cool at all. Back to the Bartons. On the news, we have a Ronin, which can we tell the difference in height between Ronin, real Ronin, and Kate Bishop?
Oh man, I thought you were going to be like, can we tell the difference between Ronin and Ronin? Ronin looks like Ronin, and then we have Ronin, who is a little bit shorter than Ronin, but not as big as Ronin.
Who's on first?
I mean, at this point in time, they could be looking at like it's a James Bond. It's like a title and not necessarily the same person over and over again. But I mean, they said in the news reports they never had video confirmation or pictures or anything like that. They just knew of the character existing, which then afterwards they were like, and we were being told that it's Ronan the Ronan. So honestly, they don't really know. I mean, nobody's been has survived Ronan in the first place to be able to identify him.
Interesting. And then didn't we have the accuser too? Remember that one?
Yes, the blue one.
Now we have three. Well, had three. Pizza Dog apparently likes pizza. That's how he gets his little nickname, his little title, as it were. And then Kate sneaks in and notices monogrammed butterscotch candy, and also finds a dead Armand the third, I believe. And then the tracksuit mafia shows up, and Kate fights them, then ducks in a van as Hawkeye dispatches of them, then reveals her identity. Come on! He was so disappointed. Oh, that was great.
Yeah, he totally wanted to just put a fist in someone's face. That was just like, you're like, oh, what a letdown.
I love that scene too. Yes, he was just over it, wants to get back to his family, and then he when he sees that it's who it is, he has this I don't know, he gave off this sense of, well, this is gonna be a long night, like that kind of ordeal. I love that.
We get that whenever they get to her house, and he shuts the door right there at the glass, and he goes dunk, and he puts his head against it, being like, "What am I doing?" I thought my issue here is that he basically is like, give me this suit. The person who wore the suit made lots of enemies, and she didn't be like, what? Why are you collecting the suit then? And why isn't the person who wore the suit beforehand the one doing this? Were you the rodent? There you go. Whoop, we just wrapped this whole episode up, and nope. No, we're gonna play the naive role that he's just collecting the suit for reasons.
Yeah. Why do you need the suit? Reasons. Okay, cool. I'll trust you instantaneously. I saw you on TV once. Do you want to just go ahead and rate episode 1 right now?
I mean, that's fine. Yeah, we can do that.
What are you giving this one?
I'm giving it a 6 because it was slow as hell.
Aw, I liked it. I liked this episode.
I mean,
I get what you're saying, but I want this exposition. I need this to fill in the blanks. I need to understand why she's nosy. I need to understand why she's so accomplished. And they did that for me. This is the kind of starter episode I really wanted to see. I'm gonna give it an 8.
All right, I'll how about this? I will give it a 0.5.
Oh my gosh. Just a 0.5, John?
6.5. It did have good moments in it, but I was more or less bored with what was everything was going on. You're right. We got all the info on her, and it happened the way that we wanted. But I don't know. It didn't do it for me like a lot of the other shows that we've been watching. Now the next episode, picks up a little bit, but I don't know. I don't really have anything constructive here to say. It didn't float my boat.
I resonated with it because I felt a lot of the same parallels for my own life. I was an underdog, and so therefore I tried to always overachieve, and then that's what got me into boxing. That's what got me in sports. I had all the awards like she had and all that stuff. And it really resonated with me because I understand the psychology of why you start doing that, why you want to be the best, why and it usually is tied up into your dad, and just like her. And so I felt all of that. So it was kind of a personal episode for me where I could identify with the story arc, and I really liked it. So well, we'll go on to episode 2, shall we?
Yep, let's go for it.
Episode 2 is titled Hide and Seek. we pick right back up where we left off, and he's like, "You're a kid?" they talk about her background. That's when he does the banging his head off the glass door. But we find out she's 22. I thought she was going to be younger than 22.
I was thinking that too, but I like how the fact that she goes 22 and he goes same thing.
Yeah, right. You're still young. Yeah. And then she's so excited. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's so like geeking out or nerding out because
And she's
of
like
who he
walking up
is.
their stairs and she's like, I have Hawkeye in my house. She's in my living room. And see, and when this is happening right here, considering of all the stuff that he has now gone through, and it just like he is like the ignored Avenger, why doesn't he actually take this in at all? He just like, so hard up on trying to get home. I get that. But here you have someone who completely idolizes you. Give her some slack.
Right.
Stop being so rude.
Yeah.
Clearly nobody appreciates you the way they should, but here is someone who does.
That's a really good point. They went the other direction, and that's that common trope of I'm annoyed. I got to get this wrapped up so I can get back to what matters to me. And then you later on, hopefully, he realized that she matters to him. I hope so. We'll see how that plays out. So anyway, Armand III met his demise from the tracksuit mafia, and then Hawkeye fills her in on the Ronin suit. Were you followed? Yeah, that's famous last words. Is that the funniest portion of this episode?
Listen, this was the cheese right here because you're like, oh, what were you followed? No, because he did this and this, and I brought the dog back. Oh, tink, and that's when it comes through. I'm like, come on.
The buzzer goes off.
It should have come through, and then she was like, hold on a second. Oh crap! I brought the dog back, and then I didn't like that because I mean it was too perfect setup,
Kate Bishop, Ronin, come out! I was like, this is great. This is great. So we got that fun sequence. But at the store, they get supplies. They head to a building, and that's where he's going to leave her there. He impersonates a fireman to enter the building. And then on his way out, because the suit's not there, he stares at a sticker on the fire truck, the LARPing sticker, LARPer or whatever. And
New York City LARPers.
And Clint is mad at Kate for stealing Christmas.
Yes, that was a good one.
Oh, so he has to tell her that he did not get the suit, but he has an idea where it might be, which I'm gonna say this. The whole infiltrating as a fire person, fireman, I thought that was really cool because it kind of gets you in the idea of his cloak and dagger lifestyle of just being able to quickly improvise and get in and out. And you actually can get into some places that you absolutely should not be if you just play it cool like you're supposed to be there. I won't go into that story for the sake of time, but I've been in places where I shouldn't have been. A quick Google search shows the costume, which was great. So he packs up the kids and sends them off. He promises his daughter he'll be home for Christmas. Now, do you think this is famous last words, John, or do you think he will somehow make it home for Christmas?
I think he'll make it home somehow.
I hope so, because I'm really, even though the kids are in this for a split second, I'm really invested in his like family life. But we'll see.
I actually thought it was kind of interesting that, he was in New York already with it and his wife was wherever it is that he lives. And what was the entire purpose of being in New York in the first place? And that was some of the info I would have liked to have known, but
they mention it later. He was supposed to be getting away with the kids. So they were supposed to be having their own time together.
Gotcha.
'Cause I'm assuming she can sense that he is somewhat unraveling. You know what I mean? Like he's suffering from PTSD and all the stuff like that. So maybe time with the kids, and they get that maybe will ignite him in some way, shape, or form.
Hey, have we gotten to the point where he has that little conversation about his hearing aid and how he has to be on the one side so he can hear what she's saying?
You know
Do we-
what? I don't know if I put that in here or not, but we can talk about it right now if you'd like.
Oh no, I kind of like that one when they're like, so what's up with the hearing aid? And it does all the flashbacks of all the explosions he's been in. He's like, I can't pin it down.
Yes, and I actually know people like that. That have my dad when he was alive, he had really bad hearing from being in the military. He was a
Mhm.
veteran, and he worked in the shop for 30 years after that. And he terrible hearing, so you had to be real conscious of how you had to make sure he could see you too to speak. And then my boss is like that too, where you have to be on one side. You have to be on his left side or forget it. He's not going to hear a word you say. So it's something that's legit and real. But I love that they put it in here because it makes sense to put it in.
Oh yeah, it makes him look like he's human.
Yeah, which we need
Yeah.
in this superhuman world that they've created. So they are sparring about her going to work, Kate going to work, but he gives in so she can go to work. And that kid was like, "Hey, it's a superhero," and then really goes and sees fake Katniss Everdeen instead of him. Did you think it was gonna be to go see him or no at the time?
No, well, now I had a feeling it was going to be something else. Although I do like the entire fact when she's like, well, there you are. I actually thought they were going to turn around and say, oh no, that's Black Widow, and they're like, no, that's Katniss
Ooh,
Everdeen. And when you drop that, I was like, ooh man, that's
ouch!
that's a big ouch.
Oh, that's epic. Now she says his branding is too low key, but she wants more training, which this is like Star Wars at this point. Complete my training, please. Uh, and she's like, I'll call you later. And he's like, please don't. That's great. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. And it's funny because when kids get your phone number, like if you're like I'm an uncle, so if they get my phone number, they do that right there. They're like, "Oh, I'll text you," and you're like, "No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do any of that. Only emergencies, please."
Mm-hmm.
So at the office, Kate's mom and Jack is there too. So every time he kept popping up, I was like, "Yeah, he's gonna be the bad guy. He's gotta be." I mean, he's getting so much screen time, and he's so fishy. And
It's
what's his deal with Armand
it's
the
that
third?
mustache. It's that crazy mustache that he has.
Handlebar mustache?
No, it's not even no, because handlebars come over and come straight down. This big like curl up like he's got the
The villain?
the Dick Dastardly ends there. So he just needs to sit there and twist them.
That was too on the nose with the little mustache of his, you know what I mean? To make
Mhm.
him the villain has the weird, which we are pretty confident he'll end up being a villain. I mean, come on. All right. So Clint is on the move to the New York City LARPers and he joins the LARP. I could take this pretend sword and pretend kill you.
This whole thing is great because when they're just like what do I got to do? When Susie says what are the rules? I'm like, oh my goodness, this is gonna be just too funny. And then they're like explaining, here's your armor, here's a weapon, and then he's just going around doing like his normal fighting style, and it was good. I liked all of it. It was great. And then the guy basically was like, I'll give it back to you. Just let me kill you.
He's like, you got to make it look real, though.
Yeah. It was too good, man. It was all too good.
I thought this was a weird aside when Kate gets called by the detective. Do you think this detective is going to be anything going forward, or do you think this was just a trying to check a box to be like, well, people will wonder while nobody contacted her about the fire?
Well, I was going to look it up on my phone, but I forgot to turn my phone off. I was actually thinking, I think that's a Marvel character. I think that's a real like agent, but I don't know for what agency or anything like that. So are we going to see this character again? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we are.
Okay. I was wondering because he seemed so straight laced. I was like, why did they show us this guy? But if you say he might show back up, that
I
would be great.
I think so.
And then we have trial by combat. Oh, that was so good. That was so good. And the best part of that was the aftermath where he was like, I can't have props show up on my credit card. You better turn these in at the front desk for me, please. Oh my gosh, that was so good. And he's like, by the way, my name's Grills. I was like, we'll never see him again unless he gets killed because he had the suit at one point. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that could happen or no?
I mean, I don't think so because like he basically like how he had it all posted online and everything, it was all a joke anyway. So if someone did come after him, I think they'd be able to figure out pretty quickly, or he just wouldn't live that long. So
No. Now Clint calls his wife, which I was kind of surprised that we didn't get a little more with her throughout the episodes.
no, I
She's real
agree
low
with that.
key. Yeah, she's real low key on this one. So hopefully that picks up later in the series. As it gets closer to Christmas, we'll see. He promised Lila that he would be home for Christmas. So that is number 2. That's the second reminder. So how many more reminders are we going to get in this series? I wonder. We'll see.
Probably a lot.
And he says he's going to do catch and release. And I love that his wife just knows, oh, one of Nat's old moves, like she just knows the standard operating procedure. And that's good to have a partner that's looped in as opposed to you're trying to keep this all a secret and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean that whole conversation with her, clearly she knows that he's got unfinished business with claiming that suit because we know that he told her everything, keeping it from his kids. I clearly they know something's going on with it, that they're going to have to deal with it. But this, you're right, all the like the second words and like all the secret talk that they had, and it makes complete sense because this is the life that they have lived now for a very long time, and it would only make sense that because of who he is and because of they try and keep his family totally isolated to the point where they really can't connect them to Barton. It would make sense for them to have some sort of different ways of communication without having to worry about actually out saying what it is you're doing.
Right. Yes. At dinner, Jack tells us the secret to a great risotto. They bond over swords, Kate and Jack, and they fence, and she reveals that he's lying about his skill. And Kate brings up Armand, but Mom makes Kate apologize until he offers her a monogrammed butterscotch.
Dun dun dun.
I thought that was coming back, and I was so glad it came back around because if you saw one, you would stop and take pause, like, what the heck? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of person has this?
I mean, I'll be honest, watching it, I was like, it took me a moment because I had to sit there and think about that again. I'm like, why are we getting, so that was the first watch through. And I'll be honest, at this point in time, I was starting to fall asleep because it was already like midnight. And like they're doing that, they hand that off. And I'm like, why is everyone getting excited? I didn't know what was going on. So then when I watched it the second time around, I'm like, oh, the butterscotch. Oh yeah. Because I remember the entire, like when she said like, who has their own personal butterscotches, but whenever he showed it, I don't know why I was just tired. But yeah, no, that was everything clicks. Oh, you're the bad guy now.
Yep. Oh man, she's like, I gotta go. Hawkeye gives himself up, and Kate calls his phone twice. Then he uses her security clearance to trace it, which is cool, which they've laid that out. So it's not just all this, this person's doing this, and this. Everything makes sense so far. So Hawkeye is criticizing the warehouse that the Tracksuit Mafia have. And that was such a fun aside where they're like, no, he's criticizing he's criticizing our location. All the other locations were taken and all that stuff. I love that. Because they took it personal.
Yeah, and then like he cuts himself free, and they're all like freaking out. He's like, "Look, I just need to talk to the boss, guys."
Kate Bishop is man in suit. And then Kate just drops it.
That was a part, and like how she did the landing, like just crumple, like right there. And they're like, "Oh, look at that! There she is."
That was outstanding. And then they're like, "We must alert the boss." And I will be honest, I did not know who this individual was.
Yeah, I still don't know who this individual was.
I know who it is now, but I definitely didn't know who it was at the time of the viewing, because I was sitting there like, who in the world is this? But the character's name is going to be Echo.
Oh, we're gonna get introduced to Echo this way? Wow.
So I was like, interesting.
Yeah, but she's supposed to be a mutant. So is that? Oh man.
I don't know. So we'll see how this works out. And they have a crossover. There's another hero that Echo crosses over with that I'll be curious to see if they do anything with that on this series.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Truth or... all right. Do you want to rate this episode?
Yes, I had a lot better time with this episode. I'm gonna give this one a 7. I enjoyed it, and we're now definitely laying down the ground rules of how this series is going to go. But if this is being that this is a 6-episode season, they really need to speed this up. Now, I will say this: I am glad I am watching 45-minute episodes versus the 24-minute episodes that they would do for everybody else.
Okay.
So, I mean, because if you think about it this way, that means that every 2 episodes, we're basically getting a 1 episode. So that means that we're getting an extra 3 episodes, kind of, sort of, if they stay at to 45 minutes.
I wouldn't count on it, to be honest with you. When the action ramps up, I think they'll be shorter.
Oh,
that's just my opinion. We'll see. I don't know anything. I'm going to give it a 7.5. I thought it was a little less immersive as the first one was. It had some good points to it, but then some stuff that was just too, like, everything's on the nose, like we've just a couple things that were just too tropish, as it were. Like, the villain does this, and and it's just a little too much of that. But still a fine episode. And I look forward to where it's going to go. We had a piece of feedback, quick piece of feedback, if you want to get into it.
Oh, yeah.
This is an email from Elizabeth. Hi, Hank and John. After What If and Black Widow, I was worried the MCU was going to stop being fun. While the first 2 episodes had some logic problems, lack of security in expensive homes, Hawkeye finding Kate within an hour, and quickly finding who had the Ronin suit, these episodes were easy to enjoy. I understand why one of Hawkeye's sons is named Nathaniel, but wasn't his name Pietro at the end of Age of Ultron? Oh, can you Google that for us, John? What are both sons' names?
On it.
Thank you. What is the significance of the Creature of the Dark Galaxy movie poster? Ooh, another.
Wait. I did have something. I forgot. When we were over at the aunt's house that she was in Florida, all those names are people on the crew.
All what names?
She goes down like this. All those, there's like all those different stickers of people's names on the call box.
Oh, okay. I get you. Do you know anything about the Creature of the Dark Galaxy movie poster?
No, I do not. I didn't see
I
anything in the background about it either. So
Interesting. Good catch, Elizabeth. I'll have to kind of do a little research on that too. Whenever you get their names, just
I listen.
butt in.
I'm scrolling through a Wikipedia page like he is a real flesh and blood human being. So it's I can get down here the part where it says personal life.
Oh, nice. Now, will firefighters get mad at Disney for showing firefighters stealing private property and saying killing a superhero makes one a superhero? Nah, I don't think they'll take it seriously. I thought that was more fun as far as like the LARPing, like them doing that and him like, oh, look at this suit I just picked up, I thought it was just more fun than anything else, especially once we meet Grills because he's such he's so aloof. So I kind of love that.
All right. The names are Lila, Cooper, and Nathaniel. His wife's name is Laura.
Yeah, so I do remember. No Pietro.
No, Cooper was the one that I said that doesn't necessarily look like he could be a real family member because he did turn around and say, "Coop, you're in charge." Because I remember that because that was actually in the second episode here, and that's whenever Lila comes around, she's like, "Why'd you put him in charge? He's a bonehead." So.
Oh, so no Pietro then. No. Oh, well, could this be the multiverse? It's a Loki's fault. How about that?
Oh, are we saying this is like a butterfly effect?
Yes, this is a Mandela effect.
Yes, so for
we remember his name clearly was Pietro at the end of Age of Ultron.
I'm sitting in a world where I don't remember that at all. So maybe I'm from the Prime and you guys aren't.
We splintered off. I remember distinctly that it was Pietro, but now it is not. I love that stuff. All right,
there's
as
only
always,
one way to find out, and that is to go back and rewatch.
Yeah, true. As always, thank you for letting me vent. P.S. Did Pizza Dog swallow the watch? And that's Elizabeth. When I read this, I was like, I better kind of investigate. So I watched that again, and I don't see him picking it up. I don't see him getting it. I see it just laying there.
All right.
So,
no, I don't see anything on the Wikipedia that says Pizza Dog took the watch. So
okay. So I was just like, well, what is that about? But it's all speculative so far. And anything else, John, before we wrap it up?
No, I mean, this is probably going to be a Fast and Furious series, so I really hope it pulls itself together. I mean, because shoot, I actually said by now I felt that we'd already see Florence, and we haven't. So so far I'm out of that. But I mean, we've got 4 episodes left, and we're gonna be deal with Echo in the next episode. Florence is in there somewhere. We got to deal with the swordsman, and then Hawkeye needs to get back to his family. So it's getting a little tight.
I'll be super bummed if they kill him off in this series. I'll be honest. I'll be angry.
Well, I mean, I told you this is a way that they can do that.
Yeah, that'd be horrible. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up then. Thank you so much, John, for carving out the time. It was a lot of fun. And next week, we only have to contend with 1 episode.
Yes.
Which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for everything Hawkeye related, please subscribe and stay tuned to Mouse House Plus. For John, I'm Hank. Until next week, we're signing off.
Bye, everybody.
TPE Network. There ain't nothing else.